$70 million, 3 days, one film, September 2025, Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle opens in North America, and something unprecedented happens. This isn't trending on anime Twitter, this is CNN, front page news, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, analysts at Comscore openly admitting, "I don't think anyone could see this coming." Except you absolutely could. The 6th biggest September opening of all time, not 6th biggest anime opening, 6th biggest, period. It beat superhero sequels, beat franchise films with decades of brand recognition, and it did this with subtitles. So much for the myth that Americans can't read fast enough. $70 million with subtitles, the thing Hollywood insisted American audiences wouldn't tolerate. In Japan, it's already the 2nd highest grossing film of all time, surpassing even Spirited Away, globally approaching $650 million. On track to become the 5th highest grossing film of 2025, because the wall between anime and cinema isn't breaking down anymore. It's gone. Completely demolished. We're just watching Hollywood realize it, way too late. Box office analysts called it a case study in organic momentum, the kind Hollywood hasn't managed in years. Film critics who rarely cover animation found themselves writing essays about Ufotable's direction, directors studying how this film achieved emotional beats through animation that live action struggles to match. The conversation shifted from "can anime go mainstream?" to "why did mainstream cinema take this long to catch up?" This wasn't luck, it was the result of a global shift in how people connect with stories. So how did we get here? Let me tell you what Ufotable actually did. Remember episode 19? That was the promise. Infinity Castle is that promise. Delivered with 5 years of production time, the opening sequence is a single, unbroken shot lasting over 3 minutes. The camera weaves through the Infinity Castle, establishing geography so precisely you could map every corridor. It's the kind of long take Alfonso Cuarón would envy, the kind that makes you forget you're watching animation. And the lighting. Every frame looks like someone studied Deacon's philosophy and applied it to a brushstroke. Shadows fall naturally. Light sources remain consistent. Characters move through spaces that feel tangible, despite being hand-drawn and digitally enhanced. But here's what separates this: restraint. When animation often means visual overload, Infinity Castle understands the power of stillness. When to hold on a character's face and let emotion play without cutting away. When to frame tragedy through quiet devastation instead of spectacle. 5 years of storyboarding meant every pause was deliberate, every silence earned. There's a moment where a character falls. No slow motion, no swelling music, just real time, just the sound of impact. When that moment hit, the entire theater went silent. The kind of silence you don't forget, and it destroys you, because Ufotable reminds cinema of what it once knew. Sometimes the most powerful choice is to do nothing, to trust the moment, to trust the audience. The score rivals Hans Zimmer's best work. Yuki Kajira and Go Shina built emotional architecture, music that becomes memory itself. And here's what matters in 2025. Ufotable created a film that demands the theatrical experience. 44% of opening weekend revenue came from IMAX and premium screens. People didn't just want to watch this, they needed to experience it. The way you experienced Top Gun, the way you experienced Dune, it wasn't just a movie, it was a return to reverence. Films that remind you why theaters exist. While anime rediscovered cinema's heart, mainstream films seemed to lose theirs. People are exhausted by cynicism packaged as sophistication, by stories that smirk at sincerity, like genuine emotion is embarrassing. Years of algorithm-driven content and streaming fatigue have trained audiences to crave authenticity again. They want craft, they want purpose, what Infinity Castle offers, what The Last of Us, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Spider-Verse 2 share is emotional honesty, stories unafraid to make you feel something real. Even blockbusters like Top Gun or Dune succeed now because they wear sincerity like armor. This is generational. Gen Z and younger millennials grew up in a globalized media landscape. To them, subtitles aren't barriers, just part of watching good stories. The idea that American audiences won't watch subtitled films, that's the industry being 10 years behind the audience. And here's the truth, mainstream cinema had to move toward anime to survive, because anime never unlearned what stories are for, to break your heart, make you cheer, remind you of your humanity. Demon Slayer gives you tragedy without irony, hope without cynicism. It explores family, loss, perseverance, themes that fit perfectly in Kurosawa films or Spielberg epics. Strip away the demons and swords, and you're left with fundamental human experiences. A boy trying to save his sister, found family protecting each other, people facing impossible odds. with nothing but determination. This is the same sincere resonance that made The Lord of the Rings a phenomenon, and the same familiar comfort that makes Studio Ghibli beloved worldwide. Modern viewers recognize quality storytelling. They spot emotional manipulation. They know when writers respect them versus pander to them. Infinity Castle respects its audience, trusts you to keep up, to feel without being told what to feel, to care because the characters are worth caring about. So when this film arrived in September, it was a collective response, a reminder of what we'd been missing. Audiences didn't just show up for nostalgia. They showed up for something that felt alive again. Cinema that feels alive, necessary, like it matters. The success isn't just about the film, it's about what happened around it. 5 a.m. screenings in India, with lines wrapping around blocks. Sold-out IMAX shows weeks in advance. Baseball stadiums hosting Demon Slayer nights with drone shows. The LA Dodgers partnered with the film. Major League Baseball commissioned an anime short featuring Shohei Ohtani. This wasn't niche. This was mainstream American sports. Embracing Japanese animation as equals, popcorn buckets became instant collector's items. Theaters reported fans in full cosplay, turning screenings into celebrations. It's the same energy that made Barbenheimer explode, the same electricity that turned No Way Home into a shared experience, the same reason Spider-Verse felt like a movement. Infinity Castle succeeded because fans weren't just buying tickets, they were creating the moment, making opening weekend feel important. Anime's advantage: its fans have been doing this for decades. Conventions, live reactions, online communities built around shared emotions. Of course, not every anime release will reach this fever pitch, but Infinity Castle proved the infrastructure is there. When the story earns it, Hollywood spends millions on marketing. Anime fans create organic buzz through pure passion, and passion cuts through noise in ways paid advertising never can. The theater isn't just a place to watch, it's where you feel something together, where strangers become temporary community. In 2025, when so much happens through screens in isolation, that collective experience became valuable in ways we'd forgotten. In a time where so many feel disconnected behind screens, this wasn't just entertainment, it was connection. People showed up not just for the film, but for the experience of being there, of sharing something that mattered, with others who understood. Infinity Castle gave audiences permission to care deeply, to be unironically excited, to show up and celebrate without feeling strange about it. It's about quality. Japanese studios are influencing Western creators in unprecedented ways. Arcane revolutionized animated television. Cyberpunk, Edge Runners merged Japanese animation with Western IP seamlessly. Blue Eye Samurai exists in a middle space that wouldn't have been possible 5 years ago. Even Warner Bros. Has greenlit its first anime co-production, and Netflix now invests more in Japanese animation than Western cartoons combined. These are proof that the visual and emotional language anime perfected has become the global grammar of great storytelling. Japan isn't competing with Hollywood, it's leading a creative movement that transcends origin. Strip away the supernatural elements, and you're left with the structural pillars of great drama: family, grief, and hope. The oldest human myths, told with new clarity. This is the emotional architecture that makes Nolan's epics feel necessary, and the human truth that makes Spielberg's stories timeless. The next generation doesn't separate anime and film, they just recognize quality. They recognize when something speaks authentically, and this cultural synthesis is creating something new, something that doesn't belong exclusively to East or West, but exists in shared creative space. Western directors study Ufotable's techniques. Japanese studios incorporate Western cinematic traditions. Composers blend musical approaches. We're witnessing artistic cross-pollination at an unprecedented scale. Of course, anime won't replace cinema. It's simply reminding cinema of what it can be. When sincerity leads the way, and audiences, they're thriving because they never cared about divisions the industry created. They just wanted great stories. They wanted to feel something genuine. They wanted cinema that remembered why cinema matters. This was about a feeling, a reminder of why we fell in love with stories. When lights dim and the screen ignites and you forget to breathe because something so beautiful, tragic, and profoundly human unfolds. That's what cinema is supposed to be. Infinity Castle didn't break records to prove a point. It broke them because it earned them. Because audiences recognize something genuine. In a landscape of disposable content and franchise fatigue, Infinity Castle proves that craft still wins, that emotion still matters, that stories told with sincerity and skill will always find their audience. If this reminded you why you love movies, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and tell me in the comments, what's the last film that made you feel everything all at once?